Hello, everyone. Welcome back to Real Wisdom Artificial Intelligence. Today is December 18th. I'm bringing this to you from my early afternoon walk here in Bangalore. So let's go ahead get started for today. The Sadhguru Insight today on the Miracle of Mind app read, living on surface, you are materialistic. If you touch a deeper core, you are spiritual. And he goes on to describe the real power of being human and how, as humans, we are capable of touching the deeper surface, deeper within, and not just live on the surface. And that comes with being present and aware. It reminded me of my definition of wisdom thinking, which is product thinking combined with presence and awareness, which is a uniquely human gift. And for those of you who have been following me along over the last few days, this week has been first about the clarity from the wisdom led operating model. Yesterday was about capacity from the wisdom led operating model. In a way, I was hoping today would be care. However, what today's insight, as I reflected on it, it re-emphasizes clarity. Let me explain in the real wisdom artificial intelligence context how it does that. So if you go back to the newsletter I wrote last week, where I talked about this conversation that I had with Johnny, and we talked about atoms versus bits and material reality versus immaterial realities. So material realities are what's something real in the physical world. Immaterial realities are based on the stories and identities that we make up. And majority of the time, we are not able to distinguish between the two. And that is unfortunately when you stay on the surface, you're not going to be able to differentiate the two. Everything that is immaterial seems as pressing as whatever is material. And we all approach all of this from a scarcity mindset. While when you really think about it, the immaterial realities which are based on the stories that we have all created, there is no scarcity there. We can all, each one of us individually and the human society collectively, has the power to choose a different story for the immaterial realities, and that will resolve most of the conflicts in the world, as well as that will give us extreme clarity in terms of doing things which are human and planet centric. So that's why this kind of re-emphasized the clarity from the wisdom led operating model. So as I reviewed today, December 18th, recording that I did from my afternoon walk earlier, and as I reviewed that and compared that to the mental notes that I had made first thing in the morning when I usually do the translation from Sadhguru Insight to the dose of Rashmi, there was another point that, besides emphasizing clarity and material versus immaterial realities, that had occurred to me that I felt is very pertinent that I wanted to share. So I'm recording this back from my desk and I'll add this to the original insight. So the point was yesterday, as I was engaging with Claude on the pressure testing scenarios. And yesterday, if you remember, I had said that AI does not really feel any conflict, and there's a thing or two that we can learn from AI. So Claude made a very interesting observation, which I completely agree with. I was not trying to say there that be like AI. I was just giving the example of what AI is able to achieve by not being identified with the thoughts. However, Claude itself said that you're not trying to tell people be like AI. You are trying to just provide this as a learning moment. And then the beauty of being humans is that we have states. That's what causes identification with our thoughts and emotions. For Claude, there are no stakes. There is no ego. There's no identity to protect, which is what it pointed out. And that's actually a limitation. It is not something to strive towards. What we need to strive towards is we all will have stakes, and that's a great thing. That is the beauty of being humans. When at the same time, as the ancient texts have said, have stakes, but do not get attached to the outcomes. It's not about being completely vested and identified with the outcomes. That is what we will get by being present and aware. And if we do that, then we are going to be able to see the immaterial realities for what they are. That only we can do. AI, while it's great, it is doing pattern recognition between training data and what each of us is bring up about our current thoughts. So for it, there is really no difference between material or immaterial constructs. They are all eventually just patterns. So AI cannot really differentiate between material and immaterial realities. We, on the other hand, can, and that is the superpower that we have as humans. We can create immaterial realities, get behind that, form collective groups to believe in a story and create something magical because of that. At the same time, when that story is not serving us, we have the ability to choose a different story, a different reality, which helps us live a better life overall. So, with that, today's dose of Rashmi is wisdom is using your conscious intelligence to become completely present and become aware of the difference between material and immaterial reality. And then build a life based on that and knowing fully well that there is no scarcity when it comes to the things which are related to immaterial realities. We can all choose a life of abundance when it comes to any of the immaterial realities. Thank you.